Okay, it is Friday, everybody. Woo-hoo. All right, so it is 11/6/2020. So today, what I want to do is talk to you about a thing called completing the square. So we're going to be solving quadratics in the form of x plus a squared equals some number. I call it b, right? I like this. I like this form because when I square root both sides, it's easy to do. Okay, so as an example, we had an example in our homework. We had an example like this. Maybe we had x plus 3 quantity squared equals 16. From this example, we know there's got to be two answers. So we learned that if you square root, right? And we knew that the square root and the square cancels each other out. We learned that yesterday. So then all you do is you're left with x plus 3 equals, well, square root of 16 is 4. It is 4, but it's also negative 4. It's both. It's plus or minus 4, okay? And then from here, you can just solve it in your mini equations. I got x plus 3 equals 4, but it also equals a negative 4. So I also have an x plus 3 equals a negative 4. Okay, so then solving this equation isn't too hard. I can get minus 3 minus 3. One answer is 1. Minus 3 minus 3, the other answer is negative 7. So what we want to do is get our equations into this form. Okay, so how does it work? There are steps, okay? Every equation has some ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, we're going to start there. Okay, b is the number next to x. That doesn't look like a b. That looks like a b. B is the number next to x. So what I do is we're going to take 1/2 of b. But before we do that, I'm going to add another step. Step 1, move c to other side. Write this down. Move c to the other side. Okay. Write that down. Now we're not going to do that yet, but that's coming, okay? Step 2, we're going to common factor out a. Write that down. We're not going to do that yet, but that's coming, okay? Now, what are we going to do on this problem? Okay, let's go through it. So I'm going to start step 3, which is where we're going to begin right now. Take 1/2 of b and square it. Okay, so my example 1, okay, find the value of c. Excuse me. So my b, excuse me, I don't have COVID really. My b is 6. So my b is 6, okay? I'm going to take 1/2 of b. So I'm going to take 1/2 of b and square. So I'm going to take half of 6 and square that answer. Okay, so here's what you do. You take half of this number, 3, square it, you get 9. That's all. Take half this number, square it. Half this number is 3, square it, you get 9. So in this case, you get 9. So b in this case, so you get 9. Now what do you do with that? Step 4, add to both sides. Okay, well, we're not really going to do that in this example because what we're going to do is just put the 9 there. So we're going to have, okay, x squared plus 6x plus 9. Okay, plus 9. Okay, now the nice thing about doing the completing the square is step 5 is to factor. Okay, so here's what I did. I took half this is 3, I squared 3, and I got 9. Half of 6 is 3. 3 squared is 9. Add that. Now, I can factor this. This factors into an x plus 3. X plus 3, sure. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 plus 3 is 6. And then we can rewrite this as an x plus 3 quantity squared. Okay, it's getting close to this kind of problem, isn't it? So what we want to do is get it to look like this. Okay, and then it gets easier to solve. Okay, example 2. Complete the square then factor. Okay, so here's b. b is negative 14. Okay, what's half of that? Half of negative 14. What's half of this? Half of that is negative 7. Negative 7 squared. What's that? 49. So I'm going to add 49 right there, okay? So one more time, half of this is 7. 7 squared is 49. Boom, okay? And now we can factor that because it will factor into an x minus 7 times an x minus 7, right? 7 times 7 is 49. Negative 7 makes a negative 14. And then I can rewrite this as an x minus 7 quantity squared. That's what I really want, is that right there, okay? Now, how does that help me? Well, if I want to go ahead and solve this, it won't factor. It will not factor. If it factored, it'd be easy. But we're going to do it by completing the square. So, example 3, I'm going to shift up. We're going to look at the examples up above. Right there. Okay, example 1. Move C to the other side. So I'm going to take the 7 and move the 7 over. So example 1, step 1, move C. So I'm going to take the 7 and move it over here. How do I do that? I go plus 7, right? That's going to leave an x squared plus 4x equals 7. I like to leave a little space right here because I'm going to complete the square. Okay. Step 2 up here says common factor out a. There's a 1 here. There's no number here, so we're not going to do step 2, okay? We're going to practice this in our Zoom on Monday, okay? So then, what I'm going to do, okay? So b is 4. I'm going to take half of that. Take half of my 4, and I get 2. Okay, I'm going to take half of it and square it. I'm going to square it, and I get 4. So now I'm going to add 4 to both sides. Okay? Add 4, add 4. So then, what do I have? Well, I'm going to factor this. I'm going to go, okay, x plus 2 equals, well, that's 11. Okay? And then I can rewrite that as an x plus 2 quantity squared equals 11. Okay? And now I'm going to solve. Well, that's what we did yesterday. Square root, okay? The square root cancels the squared. I'm left with x plus 2 equals, well, the square root of 11, that's just, I don't know what that is. It's square root of 11, because other than that, square root of 11 is an ugly number, right? It's an ugly number. Square root of 11. Square root of 11 is just an ugly, irrational number, so we're just going to leave it as the square root of 11. Just leave it, square root of 11. But there's 2 answers. Has to be 2 answers. Has to be 2 answers because of the square. So plus or minus, and now I still have to solve. So I'm going to do what I always do. Minus 2, minus 2. Now, x is equal to, well, you can't subtract these really. You really can't, because that's a irrational number, and that is a whole number. Well, it's an integer, so I'm going to go negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 11. And that's the answer I want. It does have 2 answers. It really does 2 answers. It's a negative 2 plus the square root of 11 and a negative 2 minus the square root of 11. Those are my 2 answers. Okay, we're going to practice this Monday in Zoom. Okay, let me turn the page. Okay, example 4. Okay, step 1. Let's see what step 1 says. Step 1 says move C to the other side. All right. Oh, it's done for me. Cool, got that done. Step 2 says common factor out a. So I'm going to do that. In fact, I'm going to divide out. I'm just going to divide it. Divide by 2. Everything divides by 2. Look at that. It's going to make it easier because I want a regular x squared. I want an x squared, not a 2x squared. Plus a 8x equals 6. I always like to leave a little space here because that's what I'm going to do my completed square. So, b. What is b? b is 8. b is 8. We're going to take half of that. Half of the 8 is 4. We're going to square that. We get 16, okay? So what's my note say? Move C to the other side is already done. I've divided out the 2. Now, I took half of b and I add that to both sides. I'm going to put that on both sides. So I take my 16. I'm going to go plus 16, plus 16. Okay, now, let's go ahead and factor x plus 4. X plus 4 equals 22. X plus 4 can be x plus 4 quantity squared equals 22. I'm going to square root both sides to get rid of the square. And that will leave just x plus 4. Now the square root of 22, I don't think that breaks down at all. So we'll leave it as the square root of 22 because there's no nice multiples. But there are two answers. So still two answers. So go plus or minus because there's always two answers, right? Now the last thing I'm going to do is go minus 4, minus 4. You cannot subtract 4 from the square root of 22. So my answer is just x equals, excuse me, negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 22. Okay? Example 5. Find the vertex, because this is vertex form. So find the vertex. So we need to put it in vertex form, which is y equals sum a times x minus h squared plus k. All right? So if that's my vertex form, I need it to look like this, which means I need to go ahead and complete the square so I can make it look like that. So let's go ahead. Step 1. Let's see what it says. Step 1 of my note says move c to the other side. All right, I'm going to do that. I'm going to take the c, I'm going to bring it over. So I've got to go plus 3, plus 3. Okay, move c to the other side. So my rule says move c to the other side. I did that, plus 3, plus 3. Now y plus 3 is just y plus 3. You can't add those because we don't know what y is. Y is some variable, can't add it. What are we left with? X squared plus a 6x, okay? Now we're going to complete the square. I'm going to take half of that. Half of 6 is 3. We're going to square it. 3 squared is 9. Okay, so we took half of b, half of 6 was 3, and then we squared it. So we got a plus 9. Now I'm going to add that to both sides. I'm going to go plus 9, and to keep it balanced, plus 9. How am I doing? Hopefully pretty good. So this is a y plus 12 equals, and I can factor this, right? That'll factor into an x plus 3, x plus 3. So y plus 12 equals x plus 3 squared. The last thing I'm going to do is bring the 12 back over. So I'm going to bring the 12 back over by subtracting 12. Minus 12, minus 12, bring 12 over, minus 12, minus 12. So I'll have y equals parentheses, right? Here it is, x plus 3 squared minus 12. Now, it's in vertex form. Look, see, it's in vertex form. It's the exact same form as this. The vertex then is at negative 3, negative 12. Now, is that a minimum or maximum? Well, it's got to be, because that's a positive. There's a positive 1 right here. There's a positive 1 here. It's invisible. It's invisible, positive 1. Because that's the case, we know the parabola has to look something like this. Right? The vertex is this point right here. Now that's the very bottom point, right? So that means this is a minimum, not a maximum. If the graph was upside down, if that was negative, it'd be a maximum. Okay, that's what I have. You have homework to do as well, so hopefully you guys will get her done.